has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast.
Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money.
It's Ferrall. Coast to coast.
I just saw this guy. Did you see the guy at the Crown game at the Grand Garden Arena? They showed some dude, some white dude, and he had on the giant gold chain with the crown. They got this crown at the center court logo, and he had it in a giant bling chain. And you remember the place, Cover High, outside of the D, where the guy sold the college football fake bling chains? My man had the fake bling chain on with his hat sideways, I was right out of Vanilla Ice video at the Grand Garden Arena right now, rocking the fake crown bling and the Vanilla Ice look. I have seen it all now, and I told you I wish we were there at the MGM. Watching these games live with the governor. We could be yelling cat calls at the governor from 7 rows deep with endless, bottomless popcorns and beers. What is the problem here? The grid should be at the Crown.
Everybody, it's good to, first of all, everybody loves the governor. We know that. And second of all, it's good to know that those chains are still rocking over there.
You can still
Everybody's
buy
still
them.
going with that look. Over in Vegas on the Strip. All right, let's finish up tonight. We've got all these later starts in Major League Baseball. I want a couple more of these 8 o'clocks first. The Angels are in St. Louis. Of course, they won in extras last night. Tonight, it will be Kyle Hendricks, who, of course, the Cardinals know very well from when he was with the Cubs, and Matthew Liberatore going for the Redbirds. Minus 135 for St. Louis, plus $1.15 for the Angels, and an 8.5.
As you know, I always bet on Libertad, 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 Libertad.
The Giants are out to a 3-1 start after a win in Houston last night. They'll have Logan Webb going this evening. Hayden Wesneski's going for the Astros. Minus 135 for the Giants, plus 115 for the Stros, and an 8.5.
Spinning the web on the streets tonight with the Giants getting involved.
The Padres are 5-0 out of the gates. They're looking for 6-0 tonight against Cleveland. Michael King making his second start of the season. It'll be Logan Allen for the Guardians. Padres minus 175, plus $1.45 for Cleveland, and a 7.5.
I still have to go with Michael, who would be King. And the Friars at Petco with the soft serve. Allen, to me, isn't scaring me. King's pitching great.
King's pitching great, indeed. And the Padre bat's been very hot over the first couple of days. Tigers are in Seattle again. Casey Mize for Detroit.
Larry Mize.
Logan What's Eating Gilbert Grape will go for Seattle tonight. That's why they're minus 175, plus $1.45 for the Tigers, and a 6.5 tonight.
We always bet on What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
We do always bet on What's Eating Gilbert Grape. I expect the Mariner bounce back after last night. Last night we had a lot of runs in Sacramento. Cubs and the A's again this evening. The Steel Mill. Justin Steele against Luis Severino. Cubs minus 135. Total 8.5.
I got to think for all that money they gave Severino that tonight he performs and wins for the A's. And the Butler did it.
And the Butler did it. Let's hope so. We can maybe get the Butler tonight. Tough for the Butler because he's facing a lefty tonight. But we are going to go after somebody in that game. And finally, the Braves looking to get off the schneid. 0-5 against the 6-0 Dodgers. And if there's anyone you want on the mound to end a 5-game losing streak, you would hope it's your Cy Young Award-winning pitcher, Chris Sale for Atlanta. Dustin May has been a long road back for him, as you and Gabe were talking about earlier. He will start for the Dodgers tonight, who are minus 135, plus 115 for the Braves, and a 7.5.
Can we get the pro shop sale going at $1.15 on the plus side? Give me sale. Everything's on sale.
Everything is on sale so far. That is for sure. There you go. Your night in Major League Baseball. But we're not finished because I have the home runs before we get out of here. Tater time for this evening. And look, we've got a few guys on the list tonight who have not gone yard yet this year.
But they will
and
tonight.
We're hoping that we could change some of those things tonight. We'll start with Corey Seager, who's one of those guys in Cincinnati for the Rangers.
Automatic.
Reds put up a ton of runs last night. Maybe the Rangers put up a ton of runs tonight. Plus 320 for Corey Seager to hit his first of the year at Great American. Matt Olson of the Braves. Now, everyone on the Braves has had problems so far. But I think we get Matt Olson late night against May. Plus 470 for Olson at Chavez Ravine. Another guy, and let me tell you, this guy last night came close twice. He hit one ball that I thought was gone, ended up getting caught at the warning track. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. tonight against Trevor Williams and the Nats. Can we finally get Vladdy over the wall here in Toronto? We've played him quite a few days here. Now we're almost chasing at this point, but the numbers are still good at plus 550. So we will try Guerrero this evening. And let me tell you, I'm playing a little bonus ball in that game. Paul DeJong from the Nationals, who's got really good numbers against Berrios. He's 3 for 7 with a homer off him, and he's like plus 750 tonight.
Let's go.
And Berrios gives up bombs. You saw it last week against Baltimore. He gives up homers. So we're going to do a little bonus ball with DeJong this evening for the Nats. Ian Happ for the Cubbies tonight, plus 560 off of Severino. Now, look, you saw last night, there's probably a lot of guys you can go with there. I played Rooker last night, and he didn't hit one, which means there's usually one guy on my list who doesn't hit the next day he does. I'd bet it's Rooker tonight in that A-Cub game
Did you
for the late
see
night.
those flags pinned out, going out?
Yeah.
I mean, the wind was just rifing out of the ballpark.
I really would have been a monster night if Rooker could have got out. So I might late night. We'll see how the early slate goes. Maybe we'll
it's
add
a
Rooker
Tuesday
late
night with Naylor. What do we got here?
This guy was so good to us on Tuesdays last year that we're going back. And it's twofold. He's great on Tuesdays, and he destroys the Yankees usually. Now he's in Arizona, and that's Josh Naylor, plus 600, and Will Warren's going for the Yankees tonight. I'll take a shot. I know it's going to be cold, but we'll take a shot with Naylor plunking one over the right field fence. And my last one for tonight, we're going big ball here, and that is with some good history, Nolan Arenado against Kyle Hendricks. He's got 3 homers off of him in his career. He got a plus 870 for Arenado this evening. So we will go with the big blast there with him. Seager, Olson, Vladdy, Happ, Naylor, and Arenado. Tater time for a Tuesday night here on C2C.
Those are fantastic. I mean, I can just feel it already. Like, it's every night at least 2-3 times, ding, ding, ring the bell. Balls are flying out. It's April 1st, and this ain't no April Fool's biatch.
Let's hope if we could stay with 2 at max, 2 minimum every night, we'd be in great shape if we can get a couple. And then maybe we could blast a few more than that on a given night. So let's get a hot start with the Taters. Let's try to keep it that way here on Tuesday night. All right. We are going to have Stewie next for the Valero. So we got Stewie a day early, Golf Wednesday on a Tuesday. What? And then later on, we've got all the NIT and the Crown games for tonight we have to get through. We have hockey tonight, a bunch of stuff from the NFL meetings that we will try to run through as well. So we do have a very full schedule here for the rest of the day.
A double shot with Stewie is better than sex. But we have to already cash a ticket here in Vegas at the MGM with Cincinnati to blowout win, and they cover the 9.5.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
And we are back for El Coast to Coast here on a Tuesday. Feels like a Golf Wednesday because Keith Stewart from Read the Line is here with us as we get ready for the Valero Texas Open. But it is Tuesday. We get Keith in a day early because can't come tomorrow. We got to make sure we get the picks from Keith. So we will get them in today. Keith, it is great to see you, as always, my man, here on C2C. And we have to start by throwing each other bouquets because we both had Min-Woo Lee last week in Houston. Great job by you as Golf Wednesday stays hot.
Mike, I would love to be here on a Wednesday to celebrate, but I just couldn't wait that long. We got to do it on a Tuesday. That being said, I got to get to Augusta National. I'm going to be there all week, and we're going to be reporting live from there. So, Wednesday's just too long. We got to prepare for this thing. And you know what? There's no better way to prepare than with a little momentum. And Min-Woo Lee, boy, did he ever get the job done. And he had Scotty. He had Gary Woodland, who was plus 19 putting. I mean, he had everybody coming after him, but the man can still cook. He gets it done on the final hole, a little showmanship, a little of what we love about Min-Woo Lee, and a lot of driver, a lot of chip, a lot of putting. Everything we talked about, man, was it a fantastic win. I love it. Great community win here on Golf Wednesday.
He was even able to navigate playing with Toasty on Sunday. He was even able to navigate that. What the hell was going on with those two guys on Sunday? I mean, that was bizarre. But that's Toasty, I guess. The thing is, we have fun with Toasty because this all started with Joe playing him once. So now we kind of monitor the guy from here to there. He's never in that spot. The regular golf viewer never gets to really know who the hell Toasty is, but they saw him this week in this final group. Man, Keith, he made an impression with some of his antics out there. I'm sure Min-Woo loved it.
Well, Mike, I mean, Min-Woo was kind of like collateral damage and all of that. It could have been you playing there with Toasty, and you were gonna feel the fire. I mean, the Argentinian hammer comes out. I loved how Bones got involved at one point, and he said, "Oh, he's messing with him with mind games and everything." And then then Toasty heard about it, and he came back to him on social media. I mean, the fact of the matter is, is that most people, most periphery fans, a lot of SportsGrid faithful, they know they love us. They get into golf betting. But do they watch a lot of golf? Do they get into the golf storylines? I'm not so sure. If we had a little more Toasty out there, right? If we had a little more Alejandro, I mean, I think people would get a little bit more excited. It was like injecting some WWE into Sunday at Houston. It was very entertaining, and the guy can play, which makes it even more interesting. And he loves to blast it off the tee. He plays fast. He plays slow. God only knows what's going on. He's yelling at the referee. I found it very entertaining. I'm also very happy that Minwoo was able to ignore it and still give us the 35-1 win. That's for sure.
He certainly was. We need more guys like Toasty. We need drama sometimes. Guys, I love that he went it back after Bones, too. That was hilarious. All right, TPC San Antonio this week for the Valero Texas Open. I love this event for one reason, Keith. I love the story of guys who want to get to Augusta, and by now, this is it. I mean, you're either in or out. Last week was the last week for the top 50 on the world rankings, and if you've won tournaments, etc. The only way you could still get in is by winning this week. And you have a board here that's filled with guys who are getting work in, who we know are going to be in Augusta, the Ludvigs, the Fleetwoods, the Matsuyamas. And then we have a lot of guys, including Gary Woodland, who played great last week, who the only way they're going, Ricky as well, Ricky's talked about it, he needs to win to get there, who need that golden ticket. I love this angle this week, Keith.
Well, Mike, I mean, here's the thing. We were just kind of going back and forth there about Houston. Only 7 guys in the final 25 top names there in Houston have an invitation to go down Magnolia Lane, right? The other 18 guys that played so well in Houston, they need to keep going. And you know what? The golden ticket, Willy Wonka shows up here every once in a while because 8 of the last 10 winners have needed this golden ticket in order to go down to Amen Corner, and they've gotten it. The guys that have it, like the Jordan Spieth win a couple years ago, the Corey Connors the second time, they didn't need it to get in, but all those other 8 of those last 10 winners, they needed this win to go. It was just last year when Akshay won. I mean, remember that playoff, how wild that was? He and Dirty Denny McCarthy. McCarthy throws it in the creek while Akshay's got his shirt off getting treatment. They're both 9 shots ahead of Rory, and they both needed a ticket to go to Augusta. I mean, this tournament provides fantastic theater and has a lot to do with the golf course, but it has a lot to do with the sentiment you just mentioned. It has everything. These guys, it's their lifelong dream. I mean, as a golf media member, I can't wait to go as a credentialed media member, right? Like, that's a dream right now, let alone imagine playing in this event, whether you're an amateur or a professional, a longtime professional. It's just absolutely fantastic. And it adds an awesome extra layer to the competition this week. And that's why if you look over the last 10 years, the average winner's odds is down over 100-1, because basically the long shots probably care than the guys like Fleetwood and Spieth who are getting their work in and just trying to prep and save some energy for what's going to be a big week next week.
Yeah, it kind of played out like we thought. I asked you this a week ago. We knew what Scotty and Rory were there to do in Houston, which was get good work in. But when Scotty shoots the round that he does on Friday and he's sitting there Saturday night and he's like, all right, I might as well just go and try to win the golf tournament too. And he came pretty damn close to doing that on Sunday. Before we get to your picks after the yes, go ahead. Real quick.
What'd you make of the Rory elbow comment? I mean, that was completely unnecessary and brings it up. Is he just trying to give himself, he's just trying to let a little air out of the balloon? Because it's going to be suffocating for him next week. He's got 2 wins. He's never been in a better position in order to win at Augusta. Xander's been hurt. Scotty has no wins before he's coming in. Rahm's still over at Liv. Colin Ludwig missed the cut at the Players. I don't know. That was weird for me. How'd you feel about that?
Very bizarre for him to get into that. It's almost like you say, he wants to leave himself a little bit of cushion if things don't go well in Augusta, and they haven't gone well in the past. We know that. I thought it was a little bizarre from Rory, because he's the spotlight, man. 2 wins, most wins he's ever had in a year going into this event. We've seen the trajectory the last couple of years. I know you've talked about it, of guys winning and then going into Augusta. So Rory, I didn't like it too much, to be quite honest with you. We'll get to these picks for the Valero. Yes, coast to coast.
on a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
And we are back. Ferrall Coast to Coast here on a Tuesday. It feels like a Golf Wednesday because Keith Stewart from Read the Line is here with me. And I feel like next week for the Masters, I feel like me and Keith are going to need like an hour because I think that me and him could spend like half of that hour alone talking about what we were just saying with Rory and how there is so much mental gymnastics that he goes through with this golf tournament, the Masters in Augusta, that like, will he ever actually win it? Like, is it just too much on his brain with this thing? I don't know, Keith. Maybe you both just looked at each other and went, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if it can happen.
You remember I brought this up last year, Mike? You know, he had caddy bib number 89. Now, I always know how many players are in there because I have to do the power rankings for Golf Digest. There was 89 players last year. I go, he got the last caddy bib, which means he shows up on property last. Like, he worked that hard last year to show up last to try to do something different than the year before. If you're thinking about it at that level, you're toast. And not toasty, you are toast. I'm just saying.
And he played Valero last year, remember? He played the week leading in that golf tournament. Let's get to Valero. TPC San Antonio, Keith. And this is a much different golf course than what they just played in Houston a week ago. We've got some heavy names here. Ludwig's playing. Fleetwood, as I mentioned. Corey Connors has won here twice. Patrick Cantlay's getting work. Jordan's won here before. So we've got some big names, but we've got the golden ticket guys too. Where are you going this week, Keith?
You know what? My card's not complete yet, Mike, because it's not a Golf Wednesday, but I had to get in here today. And, you know, the couple names I'm going to give you are guys that I instantly had to click on because I like the way that they're playing and I like the course fit here. Real quick, course fit-wise, this is an approach fest. Absolutely. And you need to be really good with a wedge. Anything 125 yards and in, those guys off of this style of turf, I really, really like. The second thing is it's around the green. There's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of grain in this grass. There's a lot of short, closely mown areas for chipping. The bunkers here are absolutely horrific. You have to be a good bunker player. And the third thing is that I like the collection of par fours here. They can be scoreable, but if you don't put the ball in the right position, you can have some trouble here. And the reason I like the par four scoring is because you can separate. So when you start to look at my outrights, the first one at the top of the board, Captain Keegan Bradley, plus 2,800. He's sitting there just below the favorites, but he's a guy that cares every single week. I think a lot of the favorites are just doing maintenance in order to get some reps in before next week for Magnolia Lane. Bradley, he's 6th in the field in approach overall. He's 12th in the par 4 scoring. This course is just like TPC River Highlands. I know it doesn't look the same, but that's a wedge fest where you got to put the ball in play off the tee, right? He's got 2 top 10s here in San Antonio. That's Keegan, and he's got 5 top 20s this year in 7 starts. Keegan's played absolutely fantastic, and this is the type of place with his game and his scrambling ability. I love it. Next one, Bud Cauley. I'm going to ride the Bud Cauley train here, right? Plus 5,000, 50 to 1. He's had back-to-back top 10s over there in Florida. He took a week off. Now he's back out. He's 4th in the field in scrambling. He's 15th in approach, and he's been playing really, really well. He's a great ball striker. And all of those top 10s came on POA Trivialis greens. Same grass on the greens here. And then one fun name for you, Rico Hoey, plus 6,000. There's 2 reasons he's on my card. Number 1, he can score. And number 2, he is an he drops dimes with the wedges. He's unbelievably good with the wedge game. He's got good course history there.
Let's get to the placements now, where we'll start with one heavy hitter as Hideki is there this week.
So Hideki, of the guys at the top of the board, he has the highest ceiling. I mean, maybe Ludwig, but Hideki for sure when it comes to the wedge game and his around the green acumen. I love him. Top 20s. Akshay, defending champion, a number like plus 140. This course is very predictable. Top 5 on the PGA Tour. The guys that play well here play well all the time. Think of them, Jordan, Charlie Hoffman, further down the board. All these names always pop up over and over again, and that's because the skill set is so dialed in. Like Ryan Gerard, great wedge player. Top 40 players. Eric Cole, wedge and the putter. You got to love him, and he's coming off back-to-back top 15s. And then Henrik Norlander, way deep down the board, a top 40 at plus 160. He's 2nd in the field in approach over the last 36 rounds.
And head-to-heads, we're going after Sam Burns and Tom Kim this week.
Sam Burns has become, the 2024 Jordan Spieth. Sam Burns is approach play. He's ranked 137th in the field in approach play. He's missed the last 2 cuts. The postman will deliver over him probably after 36 holes. And the other one, Bud Cauley over Tom Kim. Tom Kim, he can't chip, he can't putt. You need those things around here. I'm taking Bud.
Keith, there's 119 guys who need to win to get to Augusta. You'll be there next week. I will talk to you from there. Keith Stewart, read the line. Let's have a big week in San Antonio. We're back after this.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. You studied the stats. You had the perfect bracket until your upsets turned into regrets. SportsGrid rides the highs and lows of every buzzer beater, bracket buster, and Cinderella story.
The Big Ten Freshman of the Year!
Our team brings you sharp insights, real-time reactions, and all the madness. Only on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
If you look at how the men and women did it, the men, the portal opened up the day after the round of 32. Same thing with the women. Men on Monday, women on Tuesday. Why can't they just do the day after the national championship game when the season ends, next season begins, then you open up the portal. All teams have completed play. All bets are off.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
What doesn't Stewie get right? He's even talking Final Four games over here in the break. Like, I have seen it all.
Yeah, I got a little Final Four pick from him. Sounds like he's taking Auburn this weekend in San Antonio. So how about that? You've got the golf in San Antonio this weekend and the Final Four
it's
in San
unfair.
Antonio this
It's
weekend.
unfair,
I
these
mean, that
people.
is a huge weekend down there on the Riverwalk. So all the guys who missed the cut on Friday, they can go watch the games on Saturday night. They can get themselves over to the Alamo Dome, unless you got to get to Augusta, which I think there are some guys who they just want to get some shots in Thursday and Friday. If you're already in the Masters and probably like, just want to get my game a little tuned, and then I'm going to miss the cut. I'm going to miss these last couple putts on 18.
So is that
I'm
next
getting to
week?
Augusta early. Oh, next week. We are. This is it. I mean, it is. We're driving down Magnolia Lane on Monday. I mean, it's on.
Whoa,
we got
slow
the
down,
Masters.
son. And we got the NCAA championship Monday, and they're starting to work on the and then the par 3 on Wednesday. What do we got?
Par 3 on Wednesday. This is it. It's Masters week. It's on. So,
Jim Nance will
very
be working
exciting.
through 2036 at the
Yeah, well, that's all he does. You know, he doesn't
works
do the
for
hoops
Houston
anymore.
too. The Cougars. He's
Well,
on the take from
how about
them,
him getting
too.
in the pictures with them over the weekend? Like, we need Nance getting in the pictures with the players and Kelvin Sampson. Come on,
See,
dude.
assistant general manager, just like Ice Tray.
Jeez, he might be. Speaking of the Final Four, of course, we still have a few days to go. Broom didn't practice today for Auburn. Look at that. Last four, bracket central for us right there. Broom did not practice today, but Bruce Pearl said that he'll be playing this weekend, which we told you yesterday he's going to play this weekend. You don't have to worry about Janai Broom not being there for them. Nothing's really changed.
I think you have to be worried about him being all kinds of banged up. I mean, if his knee, his ankle, and his elbow are fried, I think it's a problem. Now, I've told you before, I'm on Auburn and Duke, but, you know, there's obviously some level of concern there. He's not practicing. He's banged up. I mean, they're trying to salvage him for this game, which means so much on Saturday night.
Certainly does. Still 2.5 for Florida and 4.5 for Duke. So that's where our numbers are on a Tuesday.
You know, that's amazing to me. It really is that I got to be honest. So, all right, first they're the number 1 overall seed. They lose 3 of 4 going out, but they've won 4 games, and they're still the overall number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. You just heard Stewie. Let's just get down to business. He said he likes Auburn to take it all. And then they're dogs against Florida. And Florida, and I got to tell you, I bet on Florida. But they shouldn't even be there. They shouldn't even be there. They're down 10 with 3 minutes to go. You got to lose that game. I mean, they just handed it to them and said, "Here you go. We don't really like Texas. We don't want to go on the trip. It's just too long for us." Like, are you kidding me? Right down the street, they blew it. They blew that game, and now all of a sudden they're favored over the number 1 seed. Come on, where does it end?
Well, I also think, and this is more, we're going to get into this a lot Thursday, Friday, etc. When they play in these enormous football stadiums for the Final Four, it's so different. And we've heard players, coaches, etc. talk about this in the past. They're used to playing in these arenas that hold 18, 19,000. Then you go play in a big football stadium that holds 60, 70, 80. The sight lines are different. The floor, they put that raised floor.
Sure.
And when you get in a situation like this where you have one team, Florida, that is built on, they make a lot of threes. They're built on offense. They're built on things. And then you have another team that's a little bit older, senior team, that's more physical, that plays a more grinding style. That, for me, is the style that plays in the big 80,000-seat football stadium than the team that needs to hit a lot of threes and buckets.
I told you.
It's different.
So I went to a game in a big college arena with, and you know which one I'm talking about, Fairleigh Dickinson. They got the teepee roof, and it's like a big giant tent. There's like 5 teepees in this arena. It's the craziest thing you ever saw. The baskets shoot out from the end zones, and behind the baskets, 20 feet, 30 feet behind the basket are the stands, and the fans fill up into those backs tournament, like the biggest in New York City. They, literally 4 of the best teams in New York played in this tournament, and they were bricking like you've never seen. The dimensions, like mentally, the dimensions are so different than playing in an arena, in a tight arena, when you're in this football stadium, which is this bigger, high roof ceiling, long baskets coming out of the end zone, fans behind it. Everything is different. And when I watched the game, Mike, I saw these kids. This kid had 23 in the game. He would have had 40, but he missed 12 shots. And this kid scores 35 a game, but he couldn't hit a shot because of the dimension. So everything that you just said is why I'm betting on Auburn.
Yeah, and look, and I think that if, that might apply to the second game too, because Duke's a team. But I think that Duke can play down low. You can get down low with Flag. They can get buckets at the basket. Yes, they shoot a lot of threes too. But you would say Houston's style is more conducive to the big arena game as well, because they want to beat you up, be physical, and play defense. And do all
I think
those
Houston
things.
can beat Duke, and I really do, and I just think they won't.
I'm with you. Look, I think they're going to be in the game, but I think Duke's going to win. But I don't. They ain't blowing Houston out on Saturday night.
They win by 5. It'll be a miracle.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough cover.
I'm more interested in the money line of just, I've been on a 12-0 bender with these regionals, and I'm not interested in that laying that kind of wood in a game of that magnitude against a team that I have said repeatedly it should be the national championship game. Is Houston and Duke are the 2 best teams in America. People think it's Florida and Auburn. It's not. The 2 best teams on both ends of the floor in America are Houston and Duke.
We've got, can't wait for it this weekend. Going to be great games. We mentioned already earlier in the show that Maryland's going to hire Buzz Williams away from Texas A&M.
What is happening here?
Buzz,
I wouldn't trust that guy going to the buffet, talking to my wife over by the shrimp stand at the wedding. Like he leaves jobs like you go to the mailbox. Like I just don't trust him. Like 6 years in College Park, what's he going to spend there for? He'll be gone there with a buyout. I mean, this guy never quits leaving jobs.
Never leaves job. It's amazing. He just moves from place to place. Your boy Buzz. The Crown in Vegas, of course. Did you say Cincy won the first game? Did I hear that? You said
Cincinnati blew him out, and now Central Florida and Oregon State are underway. I think this is going to be a much better game. I got to be honest with you. Obviously, Central Florida was favored, but Oregon State's the better team.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, and I did have the numbers, but I thought we would get to this earlier. Unfortunately, we didn't, but yes, they're underway now in game number 2. We have 2 night games. I'll quickly give you those when we come back, and the NIT for tonight. You have 2 games at the Hinkle, as we'll find out who gets to play for the NIT championship. Georgetown, Nebraska, Boise won last night in that Crown. They'll all play tomorrow. On that left side of the bracket as they continue. Remember, they're playing every day at the Crown.
With GW last night. The Broncos mean business. Watch out for them. They'll take the whole thing right out there in Vegas. Like as if they were in the Mountain West. They're going to take the whole thing.
Can't have it. So we'll do that. A lot to do when we come back.
Team we expected to be a national championship frontrunner all season long and even before the big dance. That is the Duke Blue Devils.
I don't care that people are like, oh, anticlimactic. You have the 4 best teams lined up, superstar coaches, young coaches, old coaches, veteran teams, young teams. This has got a lot of great storylines heading to the Final Four this weekend.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Yeah, I know you got these other games tonight, Carver High and that crowd in Vegas. It's crazy. I got some guy giving me geography lessons about Philadelphia. As you know, someone giving me advice about Philadelphia is a funny one since I lived there and worked there and did the Eagles pregame and worked on YSP and was on there that I don't know my way around Philly and Delaware County and where Villanova is. That I said it was a city school, and that got a bunch of people all bent out of shape. I just want to say, have a sandwich. Thanks so much for your geography tips. I'm well aware of the city of Philly, believe me, you. And I know Philly and New York more than your mother, trust me, you.
UCF and Oregon State are already underway. As you mentioned, Villanova will play Colorado in the first game of the night session. If you can bet it where you are, of course, we talked about this earlier. People can't bet the Crown now in a lot of places. -4.5 for Nova, and the 146.5 in that game. And then Tulane and USC is the late night game with USC -8.5.
It's got to be USC, right? A Big Ten team taking on Tulane. That number kind of scares you, but to me, it's still USC in that one. They'll get it done out there in Vegas.
We also have the semifinals of the NIT this evening. That would be at the Hinkle Fieldhouse, the legendary Hinkle Fieldhouse, now host of the NIT semis. North Texas, the Mean Green, 1.5-point favorites over the Anteaters. UC Irvine, one of our favorites. Give me the Anteaters tonight in the first game of this NIT semi. And, of course, Chattanooga will play Loyola in the second game. Who do you got here in both of them?
Well, I'm with you. I want the Anteaters, but I have to take the Green. I think they'll beat them. And then I never, ever bet against the Mocs. They just never lose. I don't care what tournament it is, what they're in, what it's called. The Mocs always get it done, even against Sister Jean and the Ramblers. I'm a rambling man. I still like the Mocs.
Gotta have the Mocs tonight in the second game, but give me the Anteaters in the first for it. All right, Dylan Harper officially declares for the draft. Everybody knew that was going to happen. A little more surprised that Big East Freshman of the Year, Liam McNeely from UConn, enters the NBA draft. God bless and good luck.
Why not? He screwed Indiana. He did nothing at UConn but chuck, and he's going to go get those bags.
He certainly is. As far as the women go, that Final Four is now set as well. UConn beat USC last night. Texas beat TCU. 24 Final Four appearances for UConn. UConn will play UCLA on Friday. Texas will play South Carolina on Friday, and then you'll get South Carolina, UConn on Sunday in the championship game.
And then
there
the
you go.
Beckers will win that game.
Correct. That is what will happen. All right, there you go with the hoops. NFL league meetings down in Florida. Several things happened today. Owners approved a lot of things, and then they put some things off to the side as well. They approved that change to overtime in the regular season. Both teams get the ball regardless of what happens. So just like the playoffs now, even if a team scores a tutty first, the other team is still going to get it, but still only 10 minutes. You got 10 minutes to figure it out. And if nobody does by then that's you lose. That's how it goes. And they will also increase the times that teams can wear those alternate and throwback uniforms.
No one cares about
4
that.
times. The owners approved the rule to shorten the notice to flexing a Thursday night game. You only have 3 weeks now, and they can move your Thursday night game.
Here's an idea. We have 3 weeks to decide that game's going to suck. Do you think they can get that right?
Correct. They will play a triple header on Christmas Day now. 2 games on Netflix, the night game on Amazon. That's because it's on a Thursday this year, and Amazon has Thursday nights, which is why that's happening. Christmas on a Thursday.
God bless football on Christmas. It's more important than family and Santa Claus.
Yes, it is. They approved the expanded replay assist. Thank God. They approved the Hawkeye technology for first downs. Thank God. Everybody wants that.
Because the refs suck so bad, they can finally get it right with technology, and they'll still screw it up.
They did decline or vote down. Remember the Lions wanted to not have an automatic first down on those 5-yard defensive holding penalties. That was declined. So you're still going to have an automatic first down on those. They held off, of course, on the tush push, which was a big topic this week. They have tabled it, as they call it, until the May meetings. They will discuss it at a further time. So as of now, nothing's been done about the tush push, but the word on the street is that the people against it didn't have the votes, which is why they would not have gotten it through. They needed 24, and they only got 16. They only have around 16 or 17 votes. So they're not going to get it through. I don't need to listen to McDermott talk about it because it's not happening anyway. Art Rooney II did talk today down there in Florida, and he says that everything seems to be heading towards Aaron Rodgers being a Steeler.
Why would he say that? Like, honestly, and this guy's asking me for all kinds of money in the mail. Like, what is he doing? Like, saying things that aren't documented or that aren't done? Like, why don't you announce that when you sign him instead of your projections? That's bizarre to me. They never leak this stuff ever, and this guy says it looks like he's coming here. Like, what is happening?
Which is the whole thing's bizarre because you had him do that, and then you had him throwing the balls with Metcalf at UCLA the other day. It's clearly a done deal, and they're just waiting for something or some time to announce it. That's really what it comes down to.
It's pretty obvious what's happening here to you. So, you said it yesterday. It's that party they're having on ESPN next week.
Probably what it is.
It's on Wednesday.
Yes. 49ers owner Jed York says the team and Brock Purdy are not that far apart on a new deal, which is funny because Lynch said the day before that they are kind of far apart. And he also said that the Purdy deal is why the Niners lost their entire team this offseason, why they couldn't bring so many guys back because they got to pay Purdy.
That's because they got to give him between 50 and 60 million.
That's the way the world works. You better win when you're paying your quarterback nothing, because eventually you got to pay the quarterback.
Wasn't it great that they didn't win last year?
The team we expected to be a national championship frontrunner all season long and even before the big dance. That is the Duke Blue Devils.
I don't care that people are like, oh, anticlimactic. You have the 4 best teams lined up, superstar coaches, young coaches, old coaches, veteran teams, young teams. This has got a lot of great storylines heading to the Final Four this weekend.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
One of the certainties on Coast to Coast is that everybody loves leftovers.
Everybody does love them, and there are going to be a lot of hockey games tonight we got to get in. First, Browns owner Jimmy Haslam says that the Deshaun Watson trade was, quote, a big swing and miss. You think?
How'd you like to be Watson hearing this?
And that he should be the one held accountable for it. That's right. Watson's still on the team. They didn't get rid of Watson. He still plays for the Cleveland Browns.
But that guy writes the checks.
Big swing and a miss. That's correct. The NHL and Rogers Media reach a media rights deal, so Rogers will stay as the home of the NHL in Canada. Tonight's games, here we go. Let's do it. Washington is in Boston against the Bruins. Caps on the road, minus 220. How about that?
Yeah, I like the Caps on the road, but there's no way I'm paying that price. So I'll actually, I think they'll kick their ass and cover on the puck line.
Florida and Montreal, of course, Gabe gave you the backstory there earlier. They hate each other. Florida's road favorite.
I think the Canadians will do it. Season sweep.
Buffalo is in Ottawa against the Sens tonight. Almost minus 2 bills for the Sens here.
I'll lay the goal and a half and get $1.30 if it hits with Ottawa.
Columbus needs every point it can get. It's got Nashville in their house tonight on a back-to-back. They're minus 210.
God, to get that extra goal and a half is $1.60, and then I'm not paying that price. I'll puck line Columbus at minus $1.30. Lay the goal and a half at plus 135 and hope they win by 2.
The Islanders are dogs tonight at home at the Horse Track against the Lightning. Of course, the Lightning beat him in Tampa over the weekend.
I'll rogie Vachon, the Islanders.
Ooh.
It's desperation time. Give me the Isles at the Horse Track.
Blues are getting close to running away with that last spot. The Red Wings need points badly. They're dogs in St. Louis tonight.
Yeah, I'm on the Blues here. Puck line it. They've been kicking ass and taking names.
Flames trying to stay within shouting distance of St. Louis. They're in Utah against the Hockey Club. Utah, big favorite here.
Yeah, I actually like the Flames outright here in the Delta and Salt Lake Shakers. They've been winning me money lately, and you know it.
Two teams that might be seeing each other very soon in the playoffs. The Oilers and the Knights in Vegas tonight at the T-Mobile. Minus 165 for Vegas.
I guess I'm willing to just go right there with the Knights on the strip. And
Sharks and Ducks playing out the string at the Duck Pond tonight. Man, that's a lot of wood to lay with Anaheim. Almost minus 190 now.
All right, so I'll take the goal and a half with the Sharks at minus $1.55. If I'm going to lay 190, I might as well lay $1.55 instead.
And finally, a real good one tonight in LA at the Crypto. The Jets are in town against the Kings. Kings minus 120, even money for the best team in the Western Conference.
I like the Kings at the Crypto. La 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 Lipstick City.
There you go. That's tonight's hockey.
Everybody loves
hockey. Does love hockey. Erling Haaland of Man City could miss up to 7 weeks with an ankle injury. You can do the math. That means he's just about done unless they make the FA Cup final. Coastal Carolina football. How about this? They're going to offer fans free concessions this year. Every fan can get up to 4 per game. You know, like a soda or hot dog or nacho. Does not include beer. You still got to pay for the beers. The beers are not part of it, but you do get free concessions at Coastal Carolina.
I think people should still have to pay for beer, but free food? Are you kidding me? That's Gandhi for finish.
Yeah.
The death of Brett Gardner's son Miller is now being investigated for carbon monoxide poisoning. The hotel, the resort, is fighting those claims. The room was next to an engine room where they said it was like 6 times the amount of carbon monoxide poisoning that it was letting out. They think that's what got everybody sick, allegedly. Former NYPD Blue Star, Kim Delaney, the actress, arrested for felony assault. She beat up her husband, allegedly. Chick just not having it. Hooters files Chapter 11. Original owners plan on buying it back. We cannot lose Hooters, Carver High. We like the action at Hooters on the TVs and the chicken strips and wings and other things that are available there. There's all kinds of activity in that place. GTD is next with the mayor of Miami, Joe Ranieri. Get my app. It's making people banned. Search Ferrall. We'll see you tomorrow at 3. A coast to coast.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. You studied the stats. You had the perfect bracket until your upsets turned into regrets. SportsGrid rides the highs and lows of every buzzer beater, bracket buster, and Cinderella story.
The Big Ten Freshman of the Year!
Our team brings you sharp insights, real-time reactions, and all the madness. Only on SportsGrid.
If you look at how the men and women did it, the men, the portal opened up the day after the round of 32. Same thing with the women. Men on Monday, women on Tuesday. Why can't they just do the day after the national championship game when the season ends, next season begins, then you open up the portal. All teams have completed play. All bets are off.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.